I'm going to start it here while we're laughing. No, all right. So, the new album by Queens of the Stone Age is Villains?
Yes.
All right, so Erika... Oh, sorry. What?
Oh, I was going to say, it was released on the 25th, a couple days ago.
Of what month?
August.
2017. Now, this is, granted, for all the things we're going to say, whether they're nice or mean or whatever, this is the first Queens of the Stone Age album that we have ever listened to, at least that I've ever listened to.
Yeah, me too. We are fans of alt-rock in general, but haven't... It's one of those bands that you keep meaning to listen to,
Yeah, I've been meaning to listen to them for, my whole life. Yeah. I only know one song that was in some video game. It was Go With The Flow. I was like, it was Deep Purple or something.
What?
That's the band name. I was going to say, it's like Smoke on the Water, so there's some stupid non-Queens of the Stone Age song.
Yeah.
But alright, so the album is Villains. It's our first one ever. You guys will probably be like, oh, you can't listen to that. That's the first album. You won't get it. Well...
Too bad we're not doing that.
So, Erika, overall feelings about Villains.
Well, I think I really liked the tones of the guitar. I think throughout it had really good tone.
Oh, this album is fuzzy as a mother trucker.
I love it.
It's so fuzzy, and I love it because it's like distro fuzz, sort of, where it's almost like a broken sound, where it's very sort of almost like it's edging on that sort of chiptune sort of sound.
Yeah. No, and it's also, I also love how it's oftentimes got, a dance beat.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because I was looking up this album, and I was reading about Josh Holmes, who's the lead singer, and is he a lead guitarist? Is he just a guitarist?
Not sure.
Anyway, we don't know anything about them, but, he wanted this one to be more dancey. He deliberately looked for dance beats and dance styles. And for a producer for this album, they got... Do you know who they got?
Who?
It's Mark Ronson, who is a super famous pop dance beat guy. He is well known for doing...
he did Bruno Mars'
Uptown Funk. He wrote the music for Uptown Funk. And it seemed so weird. I was like, this stoner rock, alt rock band is getting Mark Ronson to help their music.
Josh Homme said that he really, specifically about the song Uptown Funk, he's like, oh yeah, I love that song, and wanted a similar upbeat vibe.
Which is funny because, like I said, we're going with overall right now. I would say that I don't get a super upbeat vibe from this album, kind of more melancholy throughout, I would say.
Well, he was saying that it's more upbeat than their previous album, which apparently was a lot slower overall.
Well, I mean, it's stoner rock. You're supposed to bring you down, right? I guess it depends on what you're getting stoned on.
Yeah.
Who knows? Anyway. But that's... Yeah, so all in all, I would say that this album, it's too slow in most parts for me. There's about 3 or 4 songs that amp up the energy a little bit.
Well, I mean, 3 or 4 songs, that's half the album.
Yeah, there's only about, 9, 10 songs?
There's 9.
There's 9 songs. And they're almost all of them about, at least 5 minutes. I think the shortest song is...
Yeah, that's another thing I was going to say, is that all the songs were too long. They could all be cut down by, a minute, at least.
Well, see, the thing is, the shortest song was 4 minutes and 18 seconds, and it was Hideaway. Sorry, Hideaway. Haywire sounds like an awesome song title for someone else. But, and that song is one of... Well, we'll get to it in a minute.
We'll get to it.
But it's just... It's just too long. It's like you said, to put it simply.
And, intros in general, I feel were too long.
There were a lot of, so they have the String Quartet, which is a group of string players, I guess.
The String Quartet.
It's called the String Quartet in their credits, who show up sort of kind of they're in a lot of tracks, and they also show up in between the tracks. They do these sort of, violin-y sort of intros and outros to each one, and it's I don't know, it's...
Yeah, and
very odd.
Some of those little in-between sections are half on one track and half on the next track, and that really irritates me to no end.
Well, maybe...
Because if you're listening to the album not as just an album, if you're listening to each song individually, then if you're listening to a song and the song is over, and then the last 15 seconds are some strings, and then it's why is that there? If you're not hearing that as a build-up to the next song, it's well, why is that there?
So what you're saying to me is that this is made for vinyl hipsters, this album?
I mean, yeah.
Speaking of albums for vinyl hipsters. And I forgot. Edit this out. Anyway, so I guess now we talked about our overall feelings. It's very fuzzy. It's very low energy most of the time. Let's start talking about the individual songs. Now, I'm going to play you a clip of each one real quick, just enough to avoid copyright infringement. So here is Feet Don't Fail Me. All right, so Erica, tell me about Feet Don't Fail Me.
It's a song. It is the first song.
Is it by Queens of the Stone Age?
It is a song by Queens of the Stone Age.
It was the first single, wasn't it?
Yes. Either that or the next song was...
It was The Evil Has Landed is the second single.
Okay. So, yes, this is the first single off the album. And according to him, it's like a short life story, basically. Apparently. And and it includes the lyric, which I really enjoyed, of life is hard, that's why no one survives it. I'm much older than I thought I'd be.
So it's full of nonsense. It's stoner rock. It's full of I'm 14-year-old and this is deep.
Yes, it's things that sound deeper than they actually are.
Let's see, of course, we say that and someone out there is like, I can't believe the Queens of the Stone Age saved my life with how deep and philosophical their message is. It's whatever, we've never listened to them, so...
And that's great. And it's overall, an upbeat message of persisting and taking action. That's...
Speaking of action, this is actually a perfect transition. The intro to this song is like a space opera. And 100%, the beat goes dun 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 dun, and the whole
and there's
time,
and
there's synth, and the whole time I expect it to go dun 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 flash, savior of the impossible, or whatever it is that the line is, because it sounds exactly like. In fact, this whole thing sounds like an 80s sci-fi movie. I would say that theme pervades a great deal of the album for me. Is that it's got this sort of 60s, 70s, 80s weird film score.
Complete with weird synth sounds.
Synth and theremin and all kind of weird business that this whole album has. And if you just read this note that I said, how I described this song as sounding.
David Bowie's fuck.
It really was. It's so David Bowie. He sings like David Bowie. The album being very sort of space rock is so David Bowie.
Yeah, I would say sometimes he sounds like a little bit like the guy from The Doors.
And yes, I understand what you're saying. Yes.
It's
just he sounds very sort of Bowie, sort of him, sort of the Talking Heads, all these sort of very sort of odd, spacey, sort of whoa, voices.
And maybe that's always how he sounds. I don't know. Queens of the Stone Age fans, please tell us.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll tell us aggressively. How dare you, It's just this really sort of upbeat. So after you get through the space orchestra part,
after you get through nearly 2 minutes of intro, this is like a 6-minute song, and 2 minutes of it are it starts out extremely quiet and very, very slowly over this 2-minute long intro, builds up into it's a good build up, but it's just far too long. Yeah, and it doesn't really change that much. It's a lot of space noise. It's a lot of but it is satisfying when it's and then drops into the beat. That is a satisfying transition. And once it finally gets into the song itself, because I would say almost that intro deserves to be its own little intro. It's a 2-minute long thing that should just be a song. Song that I would delete off my iPod so I could just listen to the actual song. Well, yeah. The thing is, I really feel like this album, to truly experience it properly, I think you need to listen to it as a vinyl. I think, because the way the songs flow into each other, the intros, the outros, you need to put it on, start smoking a J, and then just go with it. Because it's a stoner rock album. That would be the best way to listen to this album. And that's just the way it is. We are in Colorado, so smoking a J is legal here. Yep. Anyway, but all in all, but once the song itself starts, truly, and we hear the Feet Don't Fail Me line, it's very much... Yeah, it's got a very, walking beat. I would say a majority of this album, the beats are very much sort of power walking. Yeah. They're very much upbeat. Kind of you want to do a cartoonish dance walk down a bright street. Well, you'd want to do anyone who's seen, speaking of stoner stuff and dance walking, anyone who's seen The Breakfast Club, when they're all walking together, that's what this song makes you want to do, I would say. Mm-hmm. And so all in all, I'd say this is one of the, if I had to pick a top 3 songs on this album, this is in the top 3. It's definitely not number 1, but it's at least 2 or 3. I like the song a lot too. And it's really good as an opener. because it's
lots of energy.
Yeah, it's got energy, and it's, you know, got a message of, like, moving forward, and it's like, yeah, move forward into the rest of the album.
And I think, kind of really importantly, it sets the tone, which is, it's going to be half weird, spacey, synthy nonsense, and then half energetic, full tilt,
sweet dance
rock.
Dance rock.
Yeah, dance rock,
that's what
absolutely. And that's what I would say this is. All right, and that's all I have to say about that. All right, let's move on to the second song, which is The Way You Used to Do. All right, so the way you used, like the way, or just the way you used to do. What do you think?
I think it's again with that dancey beat. It's got it's got a good energy to it. I didn't like the first time I listened to it. I didn't like the sound of the very first riff that hits the do 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 do, the like kind of radio filtery sound on it. I hated that the first time I listened to it.
But that's true fuzz.
Well, regardless, I really hated that and found that riff really annoying every time it popped up in the song. But then then as I listened to it a second and third time, it kind of grew on me. And that's kind of this album as a whole. When I first listened to it, I was kind of meh about it, but I have grown to like it.
See, now what I would say is that I think that this album, or this whole album, it feels like a throwback. I don't know if all their albums are just in throwback style, but this feels like a throwback to like I said, 70s, 80s, maybe even a little 60s sound. And to me, this song was so ZZ Top. Because it was like, and I'm always thinking of like the Grange, like Lagrange. It was very much that sort of bluesy style. Dumb Looks had that distro fuzz, that very sort of crunchy, almost too crunchy fuzz on the guitar that's just so intensely cutting. And I'm sorry. Oh,
I was gonna say, speaking of blues, part of the song that I really do like is towards the end of the chorus, which is interesting that the chorus is kind of like the more slow part, but the end where the instruments kind of drop out and he's like the way you used to do, I love the very bluesy, very and the vocals were a spotlight, which I feel like they were throughout the whole album, is that the vocals were kind of put very forward.
But it was interesting. This song in particular, I would say, is super. The vocals are dry. There's not a lot of reverb. There's not a lot of delay. It's just they're very much right there. It's very intimate, which of course feels like what the song is about. It feels like, why don't you love me, I guess, the way you used to?
Yeah. That is the name of the song.
Yeah, it's just the way you used to. I don't know. But no, it's so intensely fuzzy and crunchy that it's almost unnecessary considering... I would say, when I think about bands like ZZ Top, and when I think about bands that use a lot of fuzz and a lot of crunch in this bluesy style, I think of men and women with, gruff torch voices, they're getting down and dirty with their soulfulness, and they'd be like the way you used to. They'd get, something. But his voice is so soft and gentle that I really feel like it does not fit in this song, actually. When the chorus comes in and he's doing a lot of that really sort of behind us, gentle, high-pitched singing... It feels so out of place against the church.
Well, that's why I think it would have been cool almost to if he had that light sort of airy sound to his voice, and then for the line the way you used to do, kind of pulled out the power, but that only happened to a moderate degree.
Well, I wonder if Home can even do that. I'm not saying that he's a bad singer at all. He's great, but I wonder if he has any grit to his voice. And this album didn't show it, except maybe at one point. Yeah. But we'll get to that. But I would say that all in all, this is... If Feet on Family was number 3, this song for me is number 2. I know it's...
Really?
It's interesting, because, it's only... Of the the first 2 songs on the album were so good for me. They're exactly the kind of thing I like. The sort of bluesy, rocky, alty stuff. That I'm this is a great step we're starting off on, except for the 2-minute, space orchestra thing. I was this is weird, but whatever, that's fine. That this song is probably number 2. I really... No, well, yeah, it's at least top 3. It's great. I like this song a lot. This song made me really happy. The next song on this album is... sorry, I almost said Desiccated Animals. It's Domesticated Animals.
Domesticated Animals sounds like a death metal song.
I would listen to that song. It's by Cattle Decapitation. Alright, Domesticated Animals.
Gosh, I'm tired of that riff.
You mean jern, jern, jern.
What? Whatever.
It's,
however the riff
it's
goes.
3 notes played again and again and again and again and again and again. Yeah. Do. And it's the whole song, which is like 6 minutes long.
Well, no, you forgot the intro where it's like weird space sounds with drums.
Which is their style, I guess.
And then, like 3-ish minutes in, it like suddenly gains power.
Well, it becomes this sort of like, almost, I would call it, almost James Bondy sort of like, and you expect like a woman to sing out like soulfully. He's a spy on the edge. It's very sort of like, it's got this sort of Arabic-y, mysterious rhythm. It's pure, the 3 minutes part where it's like this bridge chorus area, and then it goes back to the jern riff. It's like a sandwich. Because there's no repeated chorus verse in the song, really.
Yeah.
There's this, obviously...
It's a boring riff sandwich.
Yeah, it's interesting. The riff is kind of boring to me, but then right in the middle is the pure stoner rock. It's pure Arabic-y rhythms. The violins come in hardcore. Everything is very sort of floaty. I
really liked that bridge section where it goes from the floatiness and then kind of gets some more power to it. And like if that section to the end were like its own song, I'd listen to that.
I don't know. The fact is the song is so boring to me, and the riff is very sort of, it's sort of like a talking riff. It's just, to me, it's just taking up space on the album. And the fact that it's like 6 minutes long is just sort of like, is this just filler, or is this really the artistic vision they were going for? And I don't know. Especially because the it is occasionally punctuated, just very, like, once every, like, 8 bars by a bluesy sort of, which makes you think, oh, it's about to break out into, like, something energetic and like, shreddy.
And it's just a tease.
And they just go back to I'm like, come on, please. Is this the point in the album, where you're 3 songs in, and you're finally, the drugs are kicking in, and you're like, yes. Because I would say this is the first song that's slower. Yeah. And this is followed by a series of very slow songs. So I think this is, and I don't know if this is a thing they do. I don't know if it's a thing like stoner rock bands do, is put like the high energy stuff so you're having fun, you're that's the getting high phase. And then when you feel the drugs kick in, you listen to Domesticated Animals and you're like, here we go.
That's when you're sitting down,
it's when you're kind of... It's when you're melting or whatever. I haven't done drugs. I don't know.
When you're melting. That's what drugs make you do. They make you melt, if you didn't know.
Wicked Witch of the West. She did way too many drugs.
Yep. That's why she died in the end.
And that's why she was the Green Witch. Am I right?
Exactly.
Nailed it. I am an professional comedian.
Yeah.
No, but...
Oh, yeah. I was going to say about the end of this song. Speaking of the song being a tease, it teases, like, it's one of those things where, like, the beginning of the next song kind of starts on this track. And that, like I mentioned earlier, that bothers the crud out of me. But also at the end of this song, there's the like last line in the song, there's like screaming underneath.
Oh yeah,
like almost like metal screaming, like at the same time as his singing. And I'm like, oh, that's neat. Like, yeah, I like that.
It ends on, like, that sort of accelerated, like, I'm going to say the line domesticated animals as if it's the lyric. I don't know. Where it's like, domesticated animals, domesticated animals.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, where did this come from? Is this going to be, like, is the next track going to be, like, something screamy and angry? Well, I mean, you can
because rock bands can get a little screamy sometimes. Like, the Foo Fighters, a great example of that. Yeah. That's part of why I love them so much.
Absolutely. The Foo Fighters, Dave Grohl has played with, So we can bring them up because they're related to this because Dave Grohl has played with Queens of the Stone Age.
Yeah.
And Foo Fighters are amazing. Dave Grohl has an amazing voice, and his screaming fits perfectly into alt rockness.
Yeah. And so I was happy to hear that at the end of the song. But then, spoiler alert, it never comes back throughout the whole album.
Yeah, there's like that one scream and you're like, yeah, I'm pumped. And then the next song is, moving on to the next song. The next song is, I would say, really weird. And it's the song Fortress, which we'll listen to now. Okay,
Fortress.
So Fortress. What do you think about this one?
It's weird. I wrote creepy like 3 times in my notes about this song.
I wrote, it's too weird to enjoy. I'm glad that we had this. See, we listened to it separately just so our opinions would be isolated. And we didn't even talk about it. Like, we were driving, listening to this in the car, and Erica was like, oh, I think this. And I'm like, no, don't tell me what you think. We want to discuss it later, just so we would have all of our ideas here.
Yeah, so, and that's what we'll do. What we're doing from now on is listening to albums separately. So this is the first time ever discussing it with each other.
Yeah, we've never discussed Queens of this Villains album before now. So it's like, it's just, this song is so weird. It's like
the melody is so discombobulating.
So there's a movie by Disney that you probably never heard of called The Black Hole. And it and other movies like it, let's say, it's bad, but 2001: A Space Odyssey is great. And this reminds me of something that if Kubrick were alive, he would look at this and go, how can I use this? Because it's just so, it's like I said, it's that 70s, 60s throwback sound to very sort of the early digital keyboard sounds, like mellotrons and theremins.
Yes, that was one of the things that bothered me about the song, is that behind the vocals the whole time, there's that...
Like an old horror movie.
Yeah.
Expect, what's his name? Gary Oldman playing Bram Stoker's Dracula to just come out and start doing the third verse rap. That's up in pop music now. I
think that's why I wrote creepy, because it's got that weird, like, mellotron thing, and the melody is surprising. I guess that's a good thing, is that the melody's not predictable, which is good. But it's also kind of, like, off-putting. I wrote not sing-alongable.
See, that's so funny that you say that, because I said, I can't imagine a band playing this. I can't imagine them on stage with this, because it's just, like, one dude and an electronic keyboard and maybe a drummer. It's just really strange, and I can't see the audience getting involved. It seems
like when he's singing it, he should be in that position that Maynard James Keenan is always in when he performs this sort of...
The creepy crouch? Yes, absolutely. Well, that's the thing, is I can't imagine a band performing this, and maybe Josh Homme and his band, like, they do amazing performances on stage. I don't know, I've never seen them live, obviously. But I just can't imagine a band playing this. I can't imagine an audience singing along to this, and I can't imagine if you were chilling out on a drug, immediately hearing a scream at the end of the last song, and then hearing the creepy theremin at the end of this song, that you would be having a good trip shortly after this.
Yeah. But
so I don't...
It gets better,
So, and then, all right, but that all kind of, it kind of mellows out. Mellotron mellows out. About 3 minutes, I wrote down 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and they remember that they have a guitarist. Because the whole earlier part of the song has, like, nothing, like, it's just all electronic sounds and drums and Josh Homme singing. And then at 3 minutes 30, it goes, wow, 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 and I'm like, this should be the whole song.
And then it suddenly ends.
Yeah, and the guitar just,
however long the song is, it just goes, like, cuts off.
Well, there's a guitar solo-ish thing at the end where it's like, I can't remember how it goes now, because the song was so unpleasant, I didn't want to give it too many listens. I listened to it about 2 or 3 times, and it's just, even so, I'm just like, this song, it's not a bad song. It's just not anything I could enjoy. There's a subgenre called, like, horrorcore, and there's, like, I don't know what the actual term for it, but there's also scary rap. It's got a name, and it's called a gore rap or something. And it's just, this belongs in whatever genre those things belong to.
The alt version of that?
Because it feels inspired by 80s horror movies. Like, it feels like that sort of unknown, scared feeling in 2001.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just me interpreting it. But all in all, I didn't like the tone as it relates to the rest of the album. It feels very electronic.
Yeah, I'd say it feels kind of like it didn't fit in with the rest of the album.
It was that mandatory dance thing that he wanted from Mark Ronson. I bet this was totally Mark Ronson getting involved here, because it's very electronic sounding, and Mark Ronson is an electronic musician, DJ, producer guy.
Yeah.
Either way, the sooner we finish talking about this song, the better. I definitely want to move on to the next song, because the next song is really good.
Yes.
The next song is Head Like a Haunted House, and here it is. So, Head Like a Haunted House. My opinion, one of the best tracks in the album.
Yeah,
What do you think?
this is one of my favorite songs from the album. It's just so high energy.
Yeah, well, it's neat after Fortress and the sort of break that you have before with what was the song before? Domesticated Animals. I feel like this is the middle of the album because it's track number 5.
Yeah, number 5.
And it's exactly what it needs to be. It after that slow down, it pumps you right back up.
It reminds you that this album is intended to be kind of fun.
Yeah, it's alt rock or stoner rock. It's not all space noise.
Yes. And so the first thing that comes to mind with this song is I wrote down that it sounds like the Arctic Monkeys.
I knew absolutely that you would say that. I was like, she's going to say it sounds like the Arctic Monkeys. Well, it sounds like the Arctic Monkeys
in their upbeat phase, not the album AM.
Well, what's the one with the guy smoking on the cover? Whatever you think I am, that's what I am, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's very much sort of, I bet you look good on the dance floor. Dance the electron pop like a robot. Yeah, absolutely.
It's totally got the vibe of that song, which I love.
And it's from like the one hard OK Go song, which is, I forget what it's called. It sounds very similar to this, except in vocal tone. It's very much early Arctic Monkeys. I wish I knew what it was called now. I'm so upset.
Oh, speaking of vocal tone, I wrote that it kind of sounds like he recorded the vocals in a bathroom. Like, it was very, like, weirdly echoey, but in, like, a almost lo-fi echoey sort of way.
It was a very small reverb. Very much almost slapbacky, just right there. No. Like, very strange. But it because of that, it sounded to me more like the 70s, 80s rock. Well, that Arctic Monkeys is also hyping. Yeah. Like I said, very Bowie. I keep being reminded throughout of Bowie all the time. Because
David Bowie was the singer of the Arctic Monkeys.
That's it. You've nailed it. If David Bowie was the singer of the Arctic Monkeys, it would be Queens of the Stone Age.
This album, at least.
Wow. Now it's never leaving my head. But no, this song it's awesome because the guitar tone is that jangly sort of like early like 90s, 80s new wavy alty rock. That's very sort of like jink 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 jink. It's almost like jangly, I guess I would describe it as. And to me, it's just...
Yeah. It sounds like they're having fun with it.
Exactly. I was thinking like the Strokes, Reptilia sounds a bit like that too. It sounds just very... Is Reptilia what I meant? I could entirely be... Everyone would be like, what? Reptilia? Doesn't even say anything like this. I can't remember. It's a Strokes song that I'm very familiar with. But I can't remember the name of it. Anyway. I would say after Fortress and... Domesticated Animals. I wrote this here. If I was on, say, marijuana, this is the song that keeps you from going to sleep. Because after Fortress, you're probably like, Mrr. So this is the song that keeps you from going to sleep. Absolutely. And it's awesome. And
and then you're like, oh yeah, I remember that life exists and I like living it.
Oh, and this song is the first one. More comes in later, but this song is the first one that really let the bass player just kick down the doors.
I really like that, like, towards the beginning, that, like, bass riff there. It's like, oh, yeah.
They really let the bass, like, they mix that bass right up. I assume because of the dance beat sort of thing. But it's just right there. And it's so strong, and it's so fast, and it's so fluid, some of these, like, licks he's getting into. I loved it to death. I don't know his name, but he's great.
Go their bassist.
Yeah, whoever the bassist is, put it up. I don't know. Anyway, he's fantastic, and I really enjoyed this song. Like, this song is definitely top 3. You've already said 3 songs on your top 3, and we haven't got to your favorite yet. Yeah, that's true. All right, well, so there's top 3, and then there's obviously the best on the album. So top 4, fine, whatever. All right, but all I can say is this is one of the songs to buy the album for. If you're going to buy the album, in my opinion, this is one of the songs that you will, on your iTunes where it says how many times you listen to it, this one will be very high on this album. Yeah,
and it wasn't overly long.
But the thing is, this song is simple.
It got right to the point.
This song is exactly what it needs to be, except one thing. I don't know if it's in the verse or the chorus, but Mark Ronson or their keyboard guy or whoever was like, no, I need to use the theremin. We're about to have to return it to the shop, and so I need to throw in some theremin. So like in the middle of the verse, it's like, turn. It's like, what? Because that's a theme throughout the album, is those weird kind of synthy, like, 80s, 70s sounds. And so they have to bring it back in every song so you don't forget that that's, like, a thing that they do. I know, but this song was just so antithesis to the rest of the album that I feel...
I don't know if that's true. It is more upbeat than the rest, but, like, it's still got the same, like, general... like tone and vibe, I think.
Really, I wouldn't say so, because it's lacking the fuzz. It's lacking all the kind, like a lot of the.
Well, I'd say it's on the side of the other more upbeat songs.
Yes, like I said, when you look through this, you'll see that I like all the songs that are just the upbeat ones, like everything that gets like some energy in you, some juice.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so, that being said...
Yeah, Head Like a Haunted House, great song.
Yeah, probably number 2. Probably my second favorite song on the album. So next, let's move on to Unreborn Again, because that's a title that makes sense. I guess if you're on drugs. This is stoner rock, as we've said. All right, so Unreborn Again. What say you?
This one was kind of odd for me. It's one of the, like, middling ones, I'd say. I wrote... the beginning of the song, I wrote that it gets heavy for, like, 2 seconds. Like, it starts out, after the, like, synth little intro, then it's, like, heaviness, and then goes into this kind of, like, oh, do-do-do-do-do. Yeah. But, like, right before that, it has, like, these, like...
What's really interesting is... All right, so what I would say is the intro to this and throughout, there are these big, long, silent pieces that's filled with sound.
Silent pieces filled with sound?
You know what I mean? Where the rest of the band drops out. That are very, very digital audio workstation, fill in the sound bars, sort of like... Very sort of Casio, like, very sort of... There's even a solo in this song. As I say, there's a solo by the keyboardist. Yeah. I guess it's the keyboardist. I'm not sure. Where it's so, like, such a 60s sci-fi movie that you expect, like, people to have, like, crazy ray guns. And, like,
I said it was spoopy.
Spoopy.
Which is a word that I like, which is, you know, spooky, but
Goofy,
silly.
Yeah.
Spoopy.
Well, that's the thing, is it sounds like it's from a 60s sci-fi movie to me, where it's supposed to be like, look at the amazing stories! Can you believe these aliens that don't breathe oxygen? They breathe
space dust.
Space dust. It's like, it feels like a lot of the solos and stuff in there do that sort of thing. But that being said, this song has a sort of bouncy, bobby groove that I feel, and I wrote of this song, that this is the true drug stoner rock song on the album.
Yeah, I wrote that it had kind of like a melancholy vibe. Like, it had a groove. I like the groove of it, but it is... I'd say it's one of, like, of the songs on this album that I would describe as groovy and danceable. It was probably the slowest one in that category of, like...
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like I said, this song is, I wrote, very stoner rock, totally a bob and drift away song. It's definitely one where you're just, like, losing it. You're just gone. Is how I feel about this. What was really interesting is, so I was listening to it, and I was listening to the bass in parts, and it sounded a little bit like woodeny. I know that's a weird way to say it. It sounded a little bit like fuzzy, brassy in a way that wasn't electronic, but wasn't the guitar. And I looked it up. They have a saxophonist on this song by the name of James King, and he played saxophone. I'm not sure. I assume it must be a baritone or a bass sax on this song to go along with it. And I was like, there's something about the low end of this song that I really like am feeling, because I'm a saxophone player. I played alto and tenor sax when I was young. And I was like, I can detect something happening. And it was really interesting how it provided just a really unique tone in the section. And I don't know if he plays in other songs throughout or anything. I didn't notice if he did. But that's where a lot of the weird low end in this song came from.
Interesting, because I would not have expected that to be a saxophone.
Yeah, right?
And if so, like, I see what you're saying about the low end having some interestingness to it. And I kind of wish that they'd brought that back in other areas of the album.
Well, the thing is, you know, if the album is a throwback to 60s, 70s, 80s, when you think about 80s pop music, so much of it, Careless Whisper and all that stuff, had that sax solo come out of nowhere. And I think
it should have had a sax solo.
Instead of the 60s keyboard solo, if you've got a saxophonist around, make him just bust in there with the, you know, dee-da-doo-doo-dee-da-doo.
But that would have seemed really out of place.
It wouldn't have fit with the song. Well, it never fit in any of those 80s songs either. It would have seemed out of place, but I think if you got a saxophone around and he's skilled and you're going to put it in the song anyway, maybe throw it in there. Even if you put like a radio filter or a fuzz on that sound afterwards. Yeah, fuzz sax. Someone sent us a video of you playing that. I bet it was awesome. Yeah. No, I feel like they could have used the saxophonist more than they did. Mm-hmm. And which is an odd thing to say about a stoner rock album. And what's interesting is it said when I was looking this up that they didn't feature anyone famous on the album. There's no Dave Grohl on drums. There's no, I don't know, Maynard James Keenan crouching in the corner, inspiring everyone to write spoopy songs. But yet, when I looked it up, like I said, the string quartet and James King play on this album, and I'm like,
sweet session musicians.
Yeah, I'm like, why? They deserve some credit.
Yeah.
So I don't know, especially because there is the string quartet they play throughout this album. You cannot miss them.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Unreborn Again is not my style of music at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
But I think it's a great stoner rock album. I think if you are high, you will enjoy it. I think if you're high, I'll enjoy this whole album, except maybe Fortress. Fortress is just weird. I don't like it. But that's just me. Anyway, so that's all I have to say about Unreborn Again. It's not in my top 5 even. It's not in my top 9, and the album's only 9 songs.
Whew.
No. It's definitely middling, like you said. It's okay. It fills the album.
Yeah, it's not one of my not one of my favorite songs, but it's not a bad song.
All right. So going from one, it's not a bad song, it's all right, to another, it's not a bad song, it's all right.
Yeah.
Oh, gave my game away. Hideaway. The whole album is 48 minutes long, which averages to more than 5 minutes a song.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a thing in stoner rock. I assume it must be because they want something they can chill out to, and not have to change or have to.
Although I mean, in stoner metal, that's definitely a thing.
That's definitely a thing. I mean, what's that? Dope Throne or whatever has the hour-long song or whatever.
I'm sure.
I can't remember who it is. Electric Wizard is the best. Anyway, moving back, I think this song is just okay.
Yeah, I noticed, like, in the verse, it's got this weird vocal melody that's like da 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 da. It's like, it was just unexpected to me based on, like, it almost felt like the vocal line kind of like modulated keys or something. Like, I didn't, but like from the beginning of the verse to that end part, it was just a very unexpected melody that kind of like threw me off. And maybe it's a good thing to be thrown off.
Well, some would say that might be the point. I'm going to say the opposite. I know this is going to sound rude, but I just think this song is lazy. And you might say, oh, Caleb, what do you know about music? I'm like, I write songs, I know some stuff. So I would say just so many things that I didn't like about it. Like, gosh, I'm going to sound like such a D-bag. But one, Josh himself, you mentioned the melody being weird. It's sort of modulating and not even. I think he has mush mouth the whole song. He cannot open his mouth and enunciate the whole song.
Very...
It's like Lana Del Rey showed up in the studio and gave him singing lessons.
Of sounding sleepy and sad.
Yeah, and it's just the whole time, it's just this sort of lilting, sort of non-speaking, non-singing sort of sound. And that's fine if that's what you want, I guess, but it's beyond me. I think I like to understand the words, and half of the song I don't understand the words he's saying, except the songs that end in hard T's, which he is sure to over-enunciate. And everything else is just sort of away. I'm like, oh, come on, open your mouth. And then continuing on I say lazy. What I maybe mean is it feels
energy.
Low energy, not put together to the degree, because there's a solo in this song, and it's fuzzy guitar.
And it's so simple.
It's like...
Like, it sounds like one of those solos that you learn when you're, like, starting to play guitar, and you're like, man, I want to learn a guitar solo, even though I've only been playing guitar for a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's short, and it's fuzzy, so you can't really hear the notes individually. There's a little bit of a do-do section in it. And it's like, it's short, it's way fuzzy, and mixed not poorly, but mixed oddly, such that it just doesn't stand out. And
like,
to me,
it almost, the whole song, like, I feel like the mixing was like, the instruments all go together, and then, like, I was thinking, like, the vocals almost sound like he had the instrumental track and was just kind of trying things out for the vocals over it, like making his own like demo, you know?
It's funny because I would say that the bridge-ish section of the song feels like a demo, and I know that sounds so jerky, but I literally said the bridge is just dream pop rock white noise. Because it's this loud sort of like, nah, and he's just like vocalizing randomly, and the song is just, instruments are all randomly playing, and it's just getting louder and louder and louder. I'm like, this is just noise. And you might say, oh, maybe the weird modulation in the vocals, oh, maybe the weird way he's singing it, maybe it is supposed to be just noise. Maybe it's
supposed to be the whole song is maybe supposed to be kind of like a dream, like a slightly disquieting, but overall kind of pleasant dream.
I guess, and maybe that's true, and if so, it felt like a nightmare.
Oh, man.
Oh, come on, I was just playing off the dream.
Yeah.
it's just this song to me is so aggressively okay that it embodies beige to me, and I just don't like it very much.
Yeah, it was definitely in my bottom 2 favorite songs of this album.
Of the 9 songs, I feel like this is pretty low. It's between this and Fortress. I just really didn't like either of them.
Yeah.
And so basically I would say, in the end, this just... Oh yeah, and in the chorus, the vocals are mixed really quiet. Like, all the instruments are so loud in the chorus over the vocals. Yeah. It's hard to hear him. Like, not necessarily, like, you obviously can, because Josh Homme's voice is very unique in that he sounds like David Bowie. But it's just, it feels like all the instruments are way too loud compared to his voice. And I don't know.
Yeah, which is, like, kind of the opposite of the verse.
Yeah, the verse is very much just him being mumbling over sound. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about the song anymore because I'm just going to end up sounding like a jerk, even though I think Queens of Stone Age is great. They have lots of songs on here that I really liked. Will I go listen to more Queens of Stone Age? Of course I will. But as of this song, there are a few I like and a few I don't. And the less about this song, the shortest on the album, the better, because I want to move on to the next song.
Yes.
All right. So the next song is The Evil Has Landed, which is an amazing name. All right, because I'll have a lot to say about this. Erika, tell me what you thought about The Evil Has Landed.
The Evil Has Landed, yeah. It definitely has the best riffs of the whole album.
It has the best everything. It has the best riff, the best solo, the best singing.
Yeah, well, I wrote that it's got, like, 3 mini guitar solos.
I wrote down 2. Amazing solo at 1 minute in, 2 minutes in, 3 minutes in, and 4 minutes in. Every minute there's, like, literally there's a solo.
But there's, like, a short little, like...
It's a short little blues shred, and it's awesome.
I guess it's more of a lead than a solo.
I guess, yeah. But it's different every time.
Yeah, that's true. Little doodlies.
And my gosh, this song... So the riff is... They bring back the fuzzy tone from what was the song?
The first couple songs.
From the first couple songs, and they just bring it back, and they modulate it a little bit so it's more like a guitar sound instead of just being like now it's very fuzzy and like it's so groovy. They get
yeah. Okay. I love the groove of this song. It's like a nice upbeat, but you can, like, it's kind of when you bop your head to, like, that. Yeah,
I will say, granted what the next song is, I think this song should have been the last song on the album to really send it home. And
to start and end on, like, an upbeat, like,
sort of like rockin'
sort of thing.
So I just want to say, I'm also a bass player. Like, I play the bass in our grunge band, and just on my own. And my gosh, the bass in the song, like, it plays the same thing as the riff, but then in, like, the verse and chorus, it's just, like, playing, like, hardcore scales. It's getting in there with hardcore, I'm using the word hardcore a lot. Basically, the bass
shredding.
Whereas previously the bass kicked down the door, and now the bass rocked the house down. Like, I couldn't believe how well the bassist was playing. It was so mixed forwards. You could really hear each individual note. He wasn't just the low end. He was the bottom of the song. Mm-hmm. And it was just unbelievable how good it was. Like, literally, like, if someone showed me the evil Has Landed and what the first song, Feet No Family Now, it's interesting that those are the 2 singles for this album. Because if I just heard those, I'd been like, this whole album will probably be just right up my street.
Rock my socks off.
Yeah, it's going to rock my socks and roll my soul. And
that's how they describe themselves as a band. They describe themselves as just a rock and roll band.
Which is interesting, because I was, like I said, half of this album is kind of space rock weirdness with a lot of, like, electrical noises. Whereas the evil Has Landed, all I can think about is, like, it's just rocking. Like, the guitars are rocking, the drums are rocking, everybody, like, the drummer is, like, especially in the outro, is getting, like, his kicks in really.
I was thinking the drumming style in this song and in the previous song, or not in the previous songs, whatever, some other song, it sounded like, I know we mentioned Dave Grohl before, but it sounds very Grohl-esque drumming style.
I mean, I'm sure while he was hanging out with them, and recording whatever.
Yeah, they're friends. Well, granted, Dave Grohl's friends with everybody, but obviously they're friends. They did a song together on the Sound City movie, which was a good song. And
you need to say that? It was Dave Grohl and Queens of the Stone Age. Could it be a bad song?
Well, I think it's just
Josh. Yeah. It's like Nirvana plus Paul McCartney. That was a weird thing.
Anyway. Yeah, but there was a lot of little, like, snare things that I'm like, Dave Grohl did this. And I'm like, no, he didn't.
The thing is, like I said, it feels like this is the song where everyone got to be as technical with their guitar skill as the drummer was showing his technical guitar skill. No, I feel like this song was the one where everybody just let everything into it. They all the elbow grease they had, they injected into this song.
Yeah.
It's just the guitarist is riffing real fast. The bassist is just shredding up and down the bass, which is awesome. The drummer is getting like almost some metal drums in there at the end with the outro, where it's very just a rocking, charging outro.
I was gonna say about the end of the song. While I do like it, one of the downsides for the song for me is that it comes to a full stop, and then it brings in a new riff that, like, in a 6-minute song, that the last minute has, like, a different riff that hasn't come in before. It's the Metallica problem, where it's like...
Where did that riff come from?
Yeah, where it's like, oh, we've used the same... Yeah, we've had the same verse and chorus riff for, like, the whole song, and then, last minute of the song, we're gonna bring in a new one just because we don't know where to end the song.
See, that being said, the outro part is this, like, charging really fast. It's not groovy. It's just a charging really fast... Yeah. Which
I think is actually...
It's in the spirit. Oh,
yeah. I was going to say, actually, I think that's why it's not the last song on the album, is because it's very pushing forward. And so I think they wanted to push forward into the last song.
Okay, I guess I understand that, but honestly, this song is so great. I'm usually a person who enjoys whole albums. Usually, I enjoy every part of it. This album is not that way, but I'm gonna put this on my iPod. This one's particular, and probably a few of the others from this album, because this song is just great. This is everything I love in music, because I'm a blues guy. I love blues. I love blues rock, I love hard rock. And this song is just, it just is. It just shows they understand exactly what they're doing. And when they do the space rock stuff, maybe they understand space rock too. I'm not a space rock guy. I don't listen to too much Bowie. I don't listen to too much, that kind of thing. Okay, we should stop praising this song. The song is just great. Please just...
I like it a lot.
If nothing else, listen to this song and let that sort of temper yourself to the album, because be aware that it's not all like that. It's just... If the rest of Queens of the Stone Age is like this, then I'm down to clown. If I want to say Mark Ronson did all the electronic stuff, then if that's true...
You just want to put the blame for all that stuff on somebody.
Someone loves the electronic stuff in this album. Yeah. You know that someone loves the opposite side of this album that I do.
Yep.
And the fact is...
But we're just... heavy guitar folks.
Yeah, if that's Mark Ronson's responsibility for the electronic stuff, then I'll like the older stuff more. But I'm not very happy.
Yeah. So we like this song.
Let's
move on to the album closer.
And last but not least, we have Villains of Circumstance, which is a play on words, just like The Evil Had Landed was a play on words.
Woo! Plays on words. Is this thrash metal?
So, Villains of Circumstance. Outro song, final song on the album. Yeah. It's one of the longer ones. I think
6 minutes and 10-ish seconds.
I think that might be the longest one. I think one might be 6:20. Okay. Yeah. So, this song is good. I like this song.
Yeah, for being one of, going back to that slower vibe, like, actually what I liked about the song is kind of it captured both the, like, slow, kind of creepy, kind of off sound from, like, Fortress and Hideaway. It had kind of that sound, but then it has a, like, mostly in the drums, it has this great build up, the do 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 do, and then drop into the, like, more into the groovy beat.
See, it's interesting that you say that, because the way I feel it actually is more that the chorus, like, I don't like the chorus in this song.
Really?
I like this chorus. I don't like it in this song. Because the so have you ever heard, faces come out in the rain when you're strange by the Doors? Mm-hmm. This song is what I imagine would happen if the Doors wrote a musical. This feels very much like a sad soliloquy musical song in the verse. Like, he's like, we're a victim, villains of circumstance, get me. Yeah. It's very much him by himself sounding. It's very much just his vocal with this sort of Doorsy delay. And it's very sad, and it's very intimate, and it's very much just him, like, by himself singing. Yeah,
and I really love that a lot, because it's like...
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah. And it's very much like he's just talking to you, like...
That's why I said...
Singing for himself, not for the audience.
But I say this reminds me of a musical because this feels like a, God helps the outcasts, sort of like a person standing in the rain soliloquizing over their pain in a musical. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly... It's so sad feeling. Like, this song feels so incredibly sad. And that's why I don't like the chorus, because the chorus has way too much energy compared to the rest of the song.
See, but I think maybe it didn't fit thematically, but like musically, I think it does a really good job of tying together the album. Like it gets the two main musical themes that happen throughout the album, that like upbeat, groovy sort of thing, and then that slow kind of spoopy sound.
Well, it's interesting,
it ties those both
because I thought the slow, sort of sad, sort of, walking, like, part of the verse, I thought this would, I know Sam Smith has done it, but if they ever wanted to get a really weird James Bond theme song, this would totally work. Because it's all about, like I said, it's about villains and circumstance. It's all very about a sad central main character. It's super much this sort of like story about a man and his problems. And I thought that this would sound awesome as a James Bond theme. And I've seen the James Bond, like all the James Bond movies, like all the way back. And I think this song would really fit his character, if not the whole like, that was Metal Gear Solid 3's James Bond theme song. But it's not jazzy, but I feel like Queens of the Stone Age could write an excellent James Bond theme song based on this.
They could. And going, like, if we want to go to talking about the end of the song, I really like, how, like, albums that kind of end on an unresolved, like, chord or note, or, that don't end, it's just, like, on the tonic of the scale, like, boring stuff. I really liked how it ended like that, because like the song did a good job of, like I said before, tying together the two musical themes of the album, and then ended kind of unresolved, where it's like, we just did that whole album and we're ready to move on to more. Like,
it had this sort of outro solo cacophony sort of thing that was very noisy and very loud, and
and that was another aspect that reoccurred throughout the album.
Yeah, is this sort of overwhelming noise thing. But the problem is, I feel like that was all true on the electro tracks, but on the bluesy tracks, that was untrue. There was not a lot of noise. There was a lot of specific sound. And so this song had a weird outro for me. I didn't like the energy of the chorus. The chorus is still a great chorus.
See, I thought it was a good juxtaposition between like the kind of inward focused, kind of somber verses, and then the like unexpectedly happy.
Well, see, it's interesting that you say that, because I think about songs by a lot of, say, symphonic metal bands, like we saw Xandria, and like how Evanescence and people do, where there's like a lot of energy in the chorus, and then suddenly there's nothing, and it just like the verse starts, and it's just like jana jana jana.
Yeah,
and my problem is, for me, this song felt like it kind of had that going for it.
Yeah, but I just feel like at least it had a good, at least the end of the verse has a really good build up to the chorus, Like, it's not, at least, sometimes songs have the problem of, like, where it's very obviously, like, verse, chorus, whatever, and then there's not, like, good transitions between the sections. And I feel like this had good transitions.
I'm just going to have to agree with you. Disagree with you. I'm afraid I'm going to have to agree with you. No, I'm going to have to disagree with you on this one. This song is good. But to me, it's just two steps from being great because the chorus doesn't fit for me.
Well, yes, we'll have to. This was one of my more, like, top 4
really
favorite songs, I think.
All right, speaking of top songs, all right, top 3s. Let's go right now. I'm going to say mine. Number 1, obviously, The Evil Has Landed. That song is amazing, and I literally just love it to death. Like, it's exactly what I want and everything. I would say, after that, probably Head Like a Haunted House is number 2. And then The Way You Used to Do is my top 3, because they're exactly what I want.
See, we almost have the same top 3, because I'm going to agree with you on the top 2. And then for the third one, I'm actually kind of torn between. So first one, Evil Has Landed, Head Like a Haunted House, and then for the third one, I'm either going to say Feet Don't Fail Me or Villains of Circumstance.
Really? Villains is in your top 3? Yeah. It could be in your top 3.
Yeah, it could be in my top 3. I like that song.
Well, you like Saint Anger, so no one respects your opinion anyway.
Gosh.
I also like Saint Anger. You can hate us both. But no, like I said, I'm glad we can at least agree on the top 2, because it's obvious. Like, you don't even need to question. There's a reason that they were the singles. Feet Don't Fail Me Now. was going to say Feet Like a Haunted House, because those issues
Well,
are
I
scary.
had like a haunted house in my second one.
Yeah.
Was that one of the singles?
No.
No, it wasn't.
There's only 2 singles.
Okay.
And although, in my opinion, I would have traded Feet Don't Fail Me Now for Head Like a Haunted House.
Yeah.
But yeah, so all in all, scale 1 to 10. I hate scales as rating systems, but what would you say?
I don't know. Like a 6?
Yep, same. It's a good album. Listen to it. Give it a shot. Because the thing is, it's not for a specific subgenre group. You can say stoner rock, but that's not who it's for,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say.
I would suspect that if you listen to this album, you'll like half of it. Because there are 2 distinct feelings in this album. You'll either like the slower, more kind of...
ambient, spacey stuff.
Yeah, more kind of melancholy sort of songs, or you'll like the upbeat ones like we apparently do.
Yeah. And yeah, I would say that's the bottom line, is this is a song that's very yin and yang. It's got 2 halves. And...
it's a good balance.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So, all in all, would you recommend this song? This album? Would you recommend The Evil's Landed? Recommended.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is I would depending who I'm talking to, I would recommend different halves of the album.
Alright, well then let me ask this question. Just all in all, would you recommend? And just a friend.
I'd say yeah. I'd say give it a listen.
Alright, and then, secondarily, does this sell you on Queens of the Stone Age?
I think it does, actually. Yeah, like, knowing this and the one other Queens of the Stone Age song I knew before this, which was No One Knows, they're, like, one of their...
Oh, wait, is Go With The Flow not... That's just part of No One Knows. You can go with the flow.
I don't know. Anyway, given that I only knew that one song beforehand, listening to this, I would definitely give more Queens of the Stone Age a try. So...
yeah, I would agree. Same thing here. I would definitely recommend this to others. And I would definitely... I want to listen to Queens of the Stone Age because I'm a huge alt-rock guy, and you're a huge alt-rock girl. Alt-rock girl.
Anyway.
What's that song by the Dead Milkmen? Alt-rock girl. Anyway, so, in the end, awesome. Go listen to it. Yeah, and that's all we have to say. Everybody's a critic, and so are we.